everything there is to say. And I have outlined it in detail in a complaint that I filed with the USOC because I believe the Federation has lost its way and has forgotten its fundamental obligation as a national governing body to develop the sport for all, our youth, our adults, our recreational players, our futsal teams, our Paralympic athletes, and our US Deaf team, everyone. I have heard from so many of you throughout this election how important change is to you. Your words and your passion for the game have inspired me and have been the driving force of my entire campaign. You are the ones that I represent, and you are the ones that I will fight for. For those of you who think the state of soccer today in the US is good enough, then you should vote for more of the same. The establishment is backing two candidates who represent continuity, who represent not change, and who will deliver more of the same. Failure on the pitch, chaos and conflicts off of it, and not the progress that we need. The two establishment candidates, Carlos Cordero and Kathy Carter, haven't just been part of the system, they have created and shaped US soccer into what it is today. A vote for either one of them is a vote for the status quo, disunity, discord, and more failure. I was a player for nearly 20 years, and I saw firsthand what Carlos Cordero's idea of change is. You cannot, as a vice president, claim that you are the lone voice of change while all of this happened under your watch. And you, as delegates, cannot buy that. He was part of a federation that generated millions of dollars on the backs of its players, and much of it on the backs of its women's players, who have been the economic engine in this federation for years, yet treated like second-class citizens. In 2015, as the best goalkeeper in the world, I had to play 23 games, win a World Cup, and win the Golden Globe, the Golden Glove, only to make $40,000 less than Tim Howard, who only had to play 8 games and win nothing in his World Cup year. He was part of a federation that could have been the first in the history of the sport to pay its women equally. Instead, that honor goes to Norway, while the US women, the most successful team ever, has to force it through the court system. He was part of the same federation that time and time again approved unsafe playing conditions for the women who still play on turf while the men play on grass. He was part of a federation that thinks it's acceptable for a female player in the NWSL to make less than $10,000 a year and have to take a second or third job just to fulfill her dream of being a professional athlete. He was part of the same federation that leaves me with no health insurance, no retirement of any kind after serving my country as the best in the world for 20 years. For 10 years, Carlos Cordero was in a position to create change, and he did nothing. He failed me, he failed my teammates, and he failed the women of the NWSL, the Boston Breakers, who just folded weeks ago while the Federation did very little to stop it. Yes, I'm passionate about equality. I'm passionate about building an underdeveloped women's game, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it's good business. Yet the business women among the candidates, Kathy Carter, who proclaims that she is all in on the women's game, never once showed any kind of support for us during our fight for equal pay. As the highest ranking female soccer executive in America, whose voice could have meant something, Kathy Carter was silent. She calls for equal pay and transparency, yet when the 2 United States senators asked Soccer United Marketing under Kathy Carter for a breakdown of revenue for the men's and women's national teams, she refused. We are better than this. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, open your eyes and your hearts and do what you know is right. Throughout this campaign, I have encouraged and implored those of you with power to make change, to use that power. And I issue a direct challenge to every council before me. We can't be here 4 years from now, realizing we made big mistakes. You must use the power of your vote to once and for all bring down this failed system of governance that is nothing less than self-interested. I ask, again, what will you do with your vote? If we want and desire vast and necessary change, we must demand it with our votes. If we want the change we all speak about, your choice must be a true change candidate. Never before have we had this opportunity to transform soccer. Today, please don't fail our youth, our women, our young girls, our underrepresented communities, and please don't fail yourselves by failing to act. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hope. Carlos Cordero.